If your lighter stopped working right now, would you still be able to start a fire? Because while some of these methods can give you a flame in seconds, others take serious skill, the right conditions, and a lot of failed attempts before they work at all. Matches. Matches are one of the simplest and most accessible fire-starting methods. Strike them and you instantly get a flame, which is why they've been used for generations. They're lightweight, cheap, and extremely easy to use, and waterproof versions can still work in wet conditions, making them surprisingly effective in emergencies. But their biggest weakness is also obvious. They're single use, and in wind or heavy rain, even lighting one can become difficult. Lighter. A lighter takes that convenience even further. With a single flick, you get a consistent flame almost instantly, making it the fastest and most effortless way to start a fire. That's why it's the most commonly carried fire-starting tool in the world. But it comes with a trade-off. It relies completely on fuel. In cold environments, the fuel pressure can drop, making it unreliable, and once it runs out, it becomes useless. So while it's the easiest option, it's not the most dependable. Ferro rod. If there's one tool most survivalists trust above everything else, it's the ferro rod. When scraped with a metal striker, it produces a shower of sparks that can reach temperatures of over 3,000 degrees, hot enough to ignite a wide range of tinder. Unlike matches or lighters, it's completely waterproof, works in extreme conditions, and can last for thousands of strikes. That combination of durability and reliability is what makes it a go-to choice in survival kits. But it's not perfect. It doesn't create a flame on its own. You need good tinder and proper technique. Without that, all you get are sparks that don't catch. Magnesium fire starter. The magnesium fire starter builds on that idea, but adds a powerful advantage. By shaving off small pieces of magnesium and igniting them with sparks, you create an extremely hot burn that can ignite even damp or stubborn materials. This makes it especially useful in cold or wet environments where other methods might struggle. However, it takes more time and effort to prepare. You have to shave the magnesium first, which can be slow and frustrating, especially in bad conditions. So while it's incredibly effective, it's not the fastest option. Flint and steel. Before lighters, before matches, this was one of the most reliable ways to make fire. Flint and steel has been used for centuries, dating back at least to the early Middle Ages. When struck together, small pieces of steel ignite and land on char cloth, creating a slow-burning ember. It doesn't look impressive, but that tiny ember is all you need to build a fire. The advantage? You're not relying on fuel. As long as you have the materials, you can keep using it over and over again. But without char cloth or proper tinder, those sparks are basically useless. Fire piston. This one almost feels like a science experiment. Instead of sparks or friction, it uses rapid air compression. Push the piston down fast enough, and the air inside heats up instantly, hot enough to ignite tinder. It's the same principle used in diesel engines. When it works, it's incredibly fast, but it's also unforgiving. If the seal isn't perfect or your technique is slightly off, nothing happens. Which is why it's impressive, but not commonly relied on in real survival situations. Bow drill. The bow drill is probably the most well-known primitive method, and for good reason. Using a bow, you spin a wooden spindle against a fireboard, building heat until a small ember forms. When everything is right, it works. And out of all primitive methods, this is often considered the most reliable. But everything being right is the hard part. Wood type, dryness, pressure, speed, if any of those are off, you can spend minutes, even hours, getting nowhere. Hand drill. Now take the bow drill and remove the bow. You're left spinning the spindle using only your hands. This is one of the oldest fire-starting methods ever used, but also one of the hardest. It requires speed, endurance, and near-perfect technique. And for most people, this is where attempts start to fail. Fire plow. The fire plow works differently. Instead of spinning, you push a stick back and forth along a groove in wood, building up heat through friction. It can produce an ember, but compared to other methods, it's less efficient and harder to maintain. It works best in hot, dry environments. Outside of that, it's one of the least reliable ways to start a fire. Battery and steel wool. This method almost feels like cheating. Touch fine steel wool to both ends of a battery and electricity flows through it, heating it up instantly. Within seconds, it starts glowing, and that glow can ignite tinder. It's fast, simple, and surprisingly effective. But only if you have both items. No battery, no steel wool, no fire. Solar fire. Fire from the sun. Using a lens, like a magnifying glass, you focus sunlight into a single point, building heat until tinder ignites. It requires no fuel, no friction, and no sparks, just light. But it's completely dependent on conditions. No sun, no fire. And even when it works, it takes patience. And last but not least, a flamethrower. Probably the most effective method here, just slightly harder to carry in your pocket.